Have you ever asked yourself, what if my family isn't always there when I need them the most? Can we truly depend on those closest to us forever? And what happens when family expectations weigh you down instead of lifting you up? These questions are real, and many people face them quietly every day. Imagine a young person who suddenly loses their job and turns to family for support, but finds they must face disappointment or conditions instead of comfort. It's a simple example, but it shows a deeper truth. Relying too much on family can sometimes leave us feeling more alone. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we explore timeless wisdom through the lens of Buddhism to help you navigate life's challenges. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribes. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world and helps us keep sharing valuable insights. In this first part, we begin to understand why Buddhism teaches us not to rely completely on family. Family can be our first teachers, our first refuge, but clinging to them as if they're the only source of support can bring suffering. The Buddha said that attachment causes pain. When we expect family to always be there for us, we may ignore the fact that everyone changes. People grow, move away, or face their own struggles. In life, nothing stays the same, not even family relationships. Holding too tightly to the idea that family will fix all problems blinds us from building our own strength and wisdom. Buddhism encourages us to find a refuge inside ourselves first, to develop self-reliance, compassion, and understanding. When we do this, we are not alone. We become steady and calm, even if family support is absent. This doesn't mean we stop loving or caring for family. It means we learn balance, love without dependence. That is the start of true freedom. Stay with us on this journey and discover how to grow beyond expectations and find peace within, no matter what family brings. Buddha's warning: attachment breeds suffering. Listen carefully, dear one. In this world, we often hold tightly to things, people, places, ideas, like a child clutching a favorite toy. We believe that if we do not hold on, we will lose happiness. But the Buddha teaches us a different way. He says, attachment is the root of suffering. Attachment means craving, wanting something so much that we cannot be happy without it. When it comes to family, this craving is strong. We want their love, their approval, their support. We expect them to protect us and care for us, always. But this craving sets a trap. Why? Because everything changes. Nothing lasts forever. Our parents grow old, siblings have their own paths, and children grow distant. If we are attached, if we depend fully, then when change comes, suffering follows. The Buddha called this dukkha. Dukkha is often translated as suffering, but it is more than pain. It is the deep unease or dissatisfaction that comes when life is not as we want it to be. Attachment leads us into dukkha because it binds us to the ever-changing world. Consider a man who loved his family deeply but could not bear to be apart from them. He became anxious and fearful when they were not around. His mind was restless and his heart heavy. The Buddha saw this and taught that such attachment blocks true peace. The Zen way is to open the hand, not to grip tightly. To love fully, yes, but without clinging. The river flows freely because it does not hold onto the water. The tree stands strong because it bends with the wind. This is the path the Buddha points to hold lightly and let go. When we understand attachment, we see it as not the family who causes our pain, but our own craving for them to be always the same, always there. This insight is the first step to freedom. The Buddha explained this clearly in his teaching of the Four Noble Truths. First, there is suffering, this feeling of dissatisfaction when life does not meet our desires. Second, the cause of suffering is craving or attachment. Third, there's a way to end suffering. Fourth, the path to end suffering is through wisdom, ethical living, and mental training. Attachment to family falls under this universal truth. We all feel it, but through mindfulness and understanding, we learn to observe this craving in our mind without being controlled by it. Mindfulness is like a lamp in the dark room of our mind. When craving arises, we see it clearly. We do not act on it blindly. We watch it, breathe through it, and slowly it loses power over us. When the attachment softens, the heart opens wider. We begin to love family with compassion and kindness, but without the chains of expectation. We find balance between caring and freedom. This freedom is not cold or distant. It is warm and wise. It allows us to be present with family as they are, not as we wish them to be. It allows us to accept change and uncertainty without fear. The Buddhist teaching is not to reject family, but to understand the nature of our attachment to them. When we see clearly, we choose how to relate with care and wisdom. There's also a deeper meaning here. Attachment is not only to family, but to all things in life. When we loosen the grip on one, the mind becomes lighter and ready to face life's challenges with peace. The practice of meditation helps us cultivate this wisdom. Sitting quietly, we watch the breath and the thoughts that come and go. We learn to be present without holding on. Through this practice, we see that the self is not a solid thing, but a flow of moments. Family, too, is a flow, sometimes close, sometimes distant. When the heart understands this flow, it does not suffer when things change. It flows like water, finding new paths and new peace. So, do not fear letting go of dependence on family. It is a step toward your own true freedom and happiness. Remember the Buddha's words, attachment is the root of suffering. To be free, learn to hold with an open hand. This does not mean loneliness or separation. It means love that is free from chains, love that is like the sky, vast, open, and ungraspable. When you practice this understanding, your mind will become calm and steady, no matter what changes come in family or life. This wisdom is your true home, your refuge beyond all uncertainty. Take this teaching to heart and watch how your suffering slowly fades, replaced by deep peace. The path is open to all who seek with an open mind and gentle heart. May you walk it with courage and clarity. Listen closely, dear friend. We are often told that family is everything. Our blood binds us, and those ties are sacred, unbreakable. But sometimes, these same bonds can feel like chains that bind the mind and heart. Imagine a bird born in a cage made by its parents. The bird knows no other home. It believes the cage is safety, yet feels restless and trapped. So it sings a song of longing, but the bars hold it tight. This is how many feel when their family ties weigh heavily upon them. Not with love alone, but with expectations, judgments, and burdens. Blood ties are natural, but they do not guarantee freedom. Instead, they can become mental chains. The chains of assumptions, of duties imposed without choice, and of pain inherited from one generation to the next. The Buddha taught us that attachment causes suffering. Family attachment is no exception. When we cling tightly to how family should be, to roles they play, or to the past we share, we trap ourselves in illusions. We become prisoners to stories, to grudges, to hopes that may never be fulfilled. In truth, each being walks their own path. The family you were born into does not define your mind, your actions, or your peace. It only shapes the beginning of your journey. Yet many feel guilty breaking free. They fear abandonment or shame. They carry invisible weights, silent agreements to suffer for the sake of family harmony. But suffering is not a noble gift. It clouds the heart and dims the light of wisdom within. Look deeply. What are these mental chains made of? They're often expectations. You must do this because I am your parent. You must obey because we share blood. You must forgive, forget, or carry the family burden. Such voices may echo in your mind, but they do not hold your true nature. The Zen way is to awaken to reality as it is. Reality is not stories or rules. It is simply this moment. When you see family not as chains, but as fellow travelers with their own karma and struggles, your heart begins to open. Compassion arises naturally when you stop holding on to resentment or false obligation. You see your family members as human beings, imperfect and free, just like yourself. This awakening brings great peace. It does not mean you abandon family or reject them with anger. Instead, you release the chains of false attachments. You love without expectation. You honor your path without being bound. Sometimes, the greatest kindness to family is to live your truth fully. When you free yourself from mental chains, you show others a way out of their suffering too. Remember the river flowing freely. It does not cling to the rocks or the riverbank. It moves with grace and strength, adapting yet unbound. Your heart can be like that river, open, flowing, and at peace. Do not fear the breaking of chains. Fear, instead, the suffering that comes from holding on too tight. Let go gently, with mindfulness and courage. In silence, meditate on your family ties. Notice the feelings that arise: love, guilt, anger, fear. Observe them as clouds passing in the sky of your mind. They do not define you. With each breath, invite freedom. Breathe in calmness. Breathe out tension. Practice kindness to yourself for wanting peace. The Buddha's path is not to deny family, but to transcend suffering caused by attachment to family. When you realize this, your life transforms. No longer a prisoner, your heart expands. You become a source of calm and understanding, not just for yourself, but for those you care about. True liberation comes when you no longer rely on others to complete you. You stand whole and free, like a mountain unmoved by storms. And yet, even as a mountain, you can be gentle as the breeze that touches all things without holding on. This balance, strength and softness, is the way beyond mental chains. Walk it step by step. Be patient with yourself. Each moment of awareness weakens the chains, until one day you will rise like a bird who knows the sky. Then, your family ties will no longer bind you. They will simply be part of the vast landscape of your life, seen with clarity and peace. This is freedom. This is the wisdom of letting go. Listen carefully, my friend. The world we live in is filled with many expectations, some spoken, many unspoken. Among these, the expectations we carry from our family are often the heaviest. These are not just wishes or hopes. They are like invisible chains wrapped around our hearts and minds, pulling us in directions we did not choose. This weight, my dear one, is part of what Buddhists call samsara, the endless cycle of birth, suffering, death, and rebirth, asterisk. You may wonder, why is this cycle so heavy? Why do family expectations feel like such a burden? It is because these expectations are born from attachments and desires. Your family, in their love, or sometimes in their fears, places hopes on you. To succeed, to behave a certain way, to follow a path laid out before you. And when these hopes clash with your own inner truth, suffering arises. Imagine a river flowing freely. Now, picture a large stone placed in the river's path. The water must struggle, slow down, or divert. So it is with your spirit when the stone of family expectation blocks your natural flow. You may try hard to please, to conform, but inside, the water is restless. This suffering is not punishment. It is a natural result of clinging to views that are not your own. The Buddha taught that suffering arises when we crave or cling to things, people, or ideas. Family expectations often become a craving for acceptance, approval, or love. We think, if I am not what they want, I will lose their love. But real love, true love, does not demand or force. It allows freedom. When you carry the weight of expectations, your heart becomes heavy, your mind restless. You lose touch with the present moment, the only moment where true peace can be found. Instead, you live in fear of failing others or disappointing them. Many have asked, how can I honor my family without losing myself? This is a delicate balance. The first step is to see clearly. Observe your feelings without judgment. When you feel the pressure of expectations, pause and ask, is this my truth or theirs? Remember, your family's hopes come from their own experiences, their own fears and desires. They are not you. You are a unique being on your own journey. Respecting your family does not mean giving up your path. Buddhism teaches us about the middle way, a path between extremes, between complete surrender to others and harsh rebellion against them, is walking gently with compassion, both for your family and for yourself. There's great power in saying no with kindness. Saying no to expectations that harm your peace is not selfish. It is self-care. It is the beginning of freedom. Sometimes, family expectations come from love that is incomplete, like a child holding a fragile bird too tightly, afraid it will fly away. The love wishes to protect, but ends up trapping. We must learn to gently release, to let the bird fly free, trusting it will return on its own wings. This is not easy. Letting go of expectations means facing uncertainty. It means walking without the safety net you once relied on. But the Buddha reminds us, true security comes not from outside, but within. Meditate on your own mind. See the thoughts and feelings that arise when you think of family. Breathe deeply and let them pass like clouds in the sky. You are not your thoughts. You are the clear sky that holds them. Practice compassion, too. See your family's struggles and fears. They act as they do because of their own suffering. Offer them love, but do not lose yourself trying to fix their world. In this way, the weight of samsara becomes lighter. You begin to walk your path with freedom and kindness. Every day, practice small steps of release. When an expectation arises, notice it, breathe, and choose peace. It may feel strange at first, but with patience, the chains loosen. In time, you will find that family is no longer a prison, but a place where love flows freely, without conditions, without expectations. This is not a story of separation, but of balance. A way to love and respect your family while loving and respecting yourself. The true journey is inward. When you rely on your own inner wisdom, you carry peace with you, no matter the outside world. Remember, the Buddha did not reject family out of anger or hate. He taught detachment with compassion, freedom with love. May you find strength to walk this path gently. May you release what binds you, and may your heart open to the true nature of love, boundless, free, and kind. This is the weight of samsara, but also the key to liberation. Walk well, my friend. Dear seeker, listen closely as we delve into the mysterious web that connects family and karma. Karma is not a curse or a punishment. It is simply the natural law of cause and effect. Every action we take, every thought we hold, creates ripples in the river of life. And these ripples often return to us in ways we do not expect. In family, karma plays a profound role. You may wonder why your family relationships are filled with joy or suffering, love or conflict. The answer lies in the actions of the past, sometimes even long before you were born. Imagine a tree growing in a forest. The roots beneath the soil hold the history of the tree's growth. Some roots are strong and healthy, while others are tangled or damaged. The tree's branches and leaves reflect this hidden past. Similarly, your family relationships are the branches. The karma is the roots beneath the surface. This means that the patterns of behavior, love, and even pain within a family are not random. They come from the seeds planted long ago by ancestors and by each family member's own past actions. But this does not mean we are prisoners of karma. The Buddha taught that karma can be changed, like a river's course can be shifted by the stones we place carefully. Every moment is an opportunity to plant new seeds, seeds of kindness, understanding, patience, and forgiveness. If you carry anger or resentment toward your family, understand this is also karma, a seed that will grow suffering in your heart. But if you choose compassion, even for those who hurt you, you water the seed of peace. Karma in family can be tricky because we often expect unconditional love and support. When that expectation is not met, pain arises. Yet the Buddha's teaching reminds us to expect less and to give more freely. This means that while you cannot control your family's actions or history, you can control how you respond. You can choose to break harmful patterns passed down through generations. This is the power of awareness. Many people struggle because they try to fix family problems from outside, blaming others, or wishing things were different. But the Zen master says, look inside. Change begins with your mind. When your mind becomes calm, clear, and loving, your actions will naturally bring healing. Karma also teaches us about patience. Sometimes family suffering is the result of unfinished lessons. Lessons that may take lifetimes to understand. Do not be discouraged if change is slow. Like the patient farmer who waits for the harvest, trust the process. In practice, this means forgiving your parents, siblings, and even yourself. Holding on to blame is like carrying a heavy stone on your back. It only weighs you down. When you cultivate forgiveness, you release this weight. The heart becomes lighter, more open, and from this openness, healing can begin. Remember, the Buddha showed us the middle way, not clinging to family ties nor rejecting them. He walked away from his own royal family to seek enlightenment, yet he did not abandon compassion for them. This middle path teaches us to balance attachment and freedom. We care deeply, but do not become slaves to expectations. One useful practice is to observe your thoughts about family with kindness, but without judgment. When anger arises, notice it without feeding it. When sadness comes, let it flow like a gentle stream. Through meditation and mindfulness, you develop insight into your own karma and family karma. You see clearly the roots of suffering and begin to loosen their hold. Another wisdom of karma is that every family member has their own path and timing. Your journey is yours alone. You cannot force others to change, but you can be a shining example of peace and understanding. In this way, the wheel of karma turns slowly but surely. Your efforts to create positive karma will not only improve your life, but also the lives of those around you. So, dear friend, do not despair if family relationships seem difficult or painful. This too is part of the great teaching, that suffering is a teacher. The Buddha said suffering arises from attachment, but freedom comes from letting go. Not letting go of love, but letting go of control and expectation. Karma reminds us that our current family is the result of past causes. But more importantly, our future family and relationships depend on what seeds we plant now. Plant seeds of patience, compassion, forgiveness, and wisdom. Water them daily with mindfulness and kindness. In time, you will see new growth, branches of peace reaching out where once there was only pain. This is the true power of karma in family. It is not a trap, but a path to awakening. Remember the story of a great master who, despite a difficult family, found peace by transforming his own heart. He did not wait for others to change. Instead, he became a change. You too can do this. Begin today, in this moment, with the breath you are taking right now. Breathe in patience. Breathe out forgiveness. Breathe in understanding. Breathe out love. This simple practice is the seed from which freedom grows. May your family karma become a garden of peace and not a forest of suffering. Walk the path of awareness and compassion, and know that you are never truly alone. Your true family is the family of all beings connected by the thread of kindness. Let this truth guide you on your journey. Listen carefully, friend. Let me tell you a story, one that speaks about the Buddha and his family and the wisdom hidden in his actions. It is a story not just of blood ties, but of true understanding and freedom. Before the Buddha became the awakened one, he was Prince Siddhartha. He had a wife, Yasodhara, and a son, Rahula. They were his family, his closest ones. Like many of us, he loved them deeply, but his path was not an easy one. One day, Siddhartha looked around at the life he had, the palace, the comfort, the love of his family. Yet, he felt a great restlessness inside. He saw suffering, not just in the world, but even in himself. This was the moment he decided to leave everything behind. Imagine what this must have felt like for his family. The sudden absence, the unanswered questions. Yasodhara was left behind, caring for their son alone. It was a painful separation. But here is what the Zen master wants you to understand. The Buddha's choice was not rejection of family, nor was it abandonment. It was a choice to follow the path that could help not just himself, but all beings, including his family and you and me. When the Buddha left, he did not cut ties with his family out of anger or hate. Instead, he chose a greater love, the love of truth and freedom from suffering. Years passed, and the Buddha returned to see his family again. He met Yasodhara and Rahula, not just as a father or husband, but as a teacher. He offered them the wisdom that had freed him. Rahula became one of his disciples, walking the path toward awakening. What can we learn here? The Buddha teaches us that sometimes love means allowing space for growth. It means that even though we care deeply, the journey to freedom and truth is individual. We cannot carry others, nor can they carry us forever. Family love is precious, yes, but it can also be a kind of attachment, an expectation that they will be there in a certain way at certain times. And when that expectation fails, we suffer. The Buddha's life shows us a different way. He loved his family, but did not depend on them for his peace. His peace came from within, from understanding the nature of suffering and letting go. He treated his family with kindness and respect, but never clung to their approval or presence. He taught that true support comes from cultivating inner wisdom. This teaching challenges us. We often want to rely on family for everything: support, validation, identity. But the Buddha's example reminds us, freedom comes when we stop relying only on others and start relying on ourselves. To rely on yourself is not to be alone. It is to stand strong with compassion for yourself and for those around you. The Buddha also showed us that family relationships change. They are part of the flow of life, just like the changing seasons. Clinging tightly only brings suffering. Instead, the Buddha embraced change. He accepted that family ties might be tested or stretched, but the love behind them can remain steady if we cultivate it with wisdom. This wisdom is patience. Patience with ourselves, patience with others. Understanding that everyone walks their own path at their own pace. The Buddha did not force his family to follow him. He offered an invitation to awaken, to see life clearly, to find peace. This is how he treated his family, with love, respect, and freedom, not with control or demand. When you face difficulties with your own family, remember this story. Remember that love does not mean control. It means freedom. Sometimes, you may have to walk away from family expectations to find your own peace. Sometimes, family may not understand your path, and that is okay. Like the Buddha, you can return to them, not as someone broken or defeated, but as someone who has found strength inside. And whether or not they join you, your inner peace remains. The Buddha's example teaches us that family is important, but it is not the whole world. Your true refuge is within yourself. This is the great teaching: love without attachment, compassion without dependence. In your life, this may mean setting boundaries. It may mean loving from a distance. It may mean caring deeply, but also standing strong on your own. Remember, the Buddha did not abandon his family out of selfishness. He chose a higher path for himself, for them, and for all beings. So, when you feel torn between family and your own journey, think of Siddhartha's choice. Think of the wisdom in walking your path, and the love that waits for you when you return. This is not a rejection of family, but a reminder that the deepest support we can have is from within. Walk gently, friend. Walk wisely. The path is yours to choose. Listen carefully. Compassion is the heart of all beings. It is like water, soft yet powerful, gentle yet life-giving. But compassion is not a chain that binds us to others. It is a bridge that connects without tying. Many people believe that to love others means to depend on them, to lean on them like a tree, leaning on the wind for support. But this is not the path of true compassion. True compassion begins with the understanding that all beings suffer. Every one of us carries pain, fear, and loneliness. But it is not by clinging to others that we ease this suffering. It is by learning to hold ourselves with kindness, and then extending that kindness freely, without expectation. Imagine a candle lighting another candle. The first candle gives light, but does not lose its flame. Compassion works in the same way. When we offer kindness to others, we do not lose ourselves. Instead, our light grows brighter. When you rely too much on family or friends to carry your burdens, you give your power away. You become like a boat with a broken sail, drifting helplessly. This is not compassion. This is dependency. The Buddha taught us to develop metta, loving kindness, and karuna, compassion, for all beings but first for ourselves. Without self-compassion, we cannot truly help others. Many times, people who depend heavily on family expect their compassion to be returned. If it is not, they feel hurt or abandoned. But compassion should not be a contract or a debt. It should be free, like the wind blowing over the mountains. There's a story of a monk who cared deeply for a sick village woman. Every day, he brought her food and tended her wounds. But he did not expect anything in return. When she recovered, she offered him gifts. The monk smiled and said, "Compassion is not a trade. It is a gift. In your own life, practice this wisdom. Help others because your heart calls you, not because you need something back. When you do, your compassion becomes a true blessing." But how do we practice compassion without becoming dependent? First, by realizing that your worth is not tied to what others give you. Your true value comes from within. Meditate on this. When you wake in the morning, do you depend on the sun to rise? No, the sun rises on its own. You do not ask the sun for permission to live. You simply are. Similarly, your kindness and strength should come from your own inner light. Second, when you help family or friends, do so without strings attached. Give your time, your care, your understanding, but let go of the need to control their response. This freedom creates a space where true healing can happen. If someone needs you, you could be there. But if they cannot be there for you, you remain whole. Third, practice patience. Sometimes, family members do not understand your compassion. They may confuse your independence with rejection. This is natural. The Zen master smiles gently and says, like the lotus flower blooming in the muddy water, your compassion can shine brightly even when surrounded by misunderstanding. Do not be afraid to love deeply but freely. Many people think compassion means sacrificing their own needs. But the Buddha taught the middle way, a path of balance. Compassion without balance becomes suffering. If you give too much and lose yourself, you become tired and bitter. Your compassion dries up like a river that runs dry. If you give too little, you become cold and distant, and others feel lost. Balance is the key. Give with a full heart, but keep your roots strong. Like a tree that gives shade, but remains firmly grounded. There's a saying in Zen, if you want to help others, first fill your own cup. So, care for yourself. Rest when tired. Speak your truth gently, and then reach out with an open hand. When you do this, your compassion becomes a steady flame. It warms others without burning you. This is the essence of compassion without dependency. In the silence of your own heart, you find strength. In the stillness of your mind, you find peace. And from that place, you can love without fear, without need. The world is full of suffering, but also full of healing. You are a part of that healing, not because you depend on others, but because you are whole in yourself. Remember, even the Buddha sat alone under the Bodhi tree. He found enlightenment not in others but within. And yet, his compassion extended to all beings free and boundless. So cultivate your own inner light. Nurture your own garden of peace. And when you share your compassion, do it freely without chains. This is the way of the awakened heart. Now, take a deep breath and feel this truth. Your compassion is not a burden to carry, but a river that flows freely, giving life without losing itself. Walk this path with gentle steps. Be kind to yourself and others. And know that true compassion means being strong, steady, and free. Listen carefully, dear friend. Life is like a river flowing endlessly, sometimes calm, sometimes wild. Many look to their family as the shore to hold on to when the river becomes too strong. But what if the shore moves? What if the river takes you far from where you thought you would stay safe? Then, where do you find refuge? The Buddha taught that true refuge is not in people or places that change. Family, as precious as it is not a steady shelter. Family members may be loving, yes, but they are also human, full of their own fears, desires, and struggles. Just like you, they are caught in the web of life's ups and downs. To truly be safe, you must find a refuge that does not waver, no matter what happens outside. This refuge is inside you, in your heart, your mind, your understanding. What is this refuge? It is called the three jewels: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The Buddha is the awakened one, the teacher who showed the path to freedom. He is not a distant God, but a symbol of what you can become, awake and free. The Dharma is the teaching, the way to live wisely. It is like a lamp in the darkness, guiding you through confusion and suffering. The Sangha is the community, the friends on the path who support each other with kindness and understanding. When you rely on family alone, you depend on something that changes like the seasons. But when you take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, you find something unchanging and reliable. Many who seek refuge here find peace even when family support fades away. This is because their strength no longer depends on others, but on their own practice and understanding. Imagine a tree planted deeply in the earth. When storms come, the tree bends but does not break. Its roots are strong and steady. In the same way, your mind can grow roots in wisdom and compassion. When troubles come, you bend but you do not fall. How do you plant these roots? By practicing mindfulness, being aware of your thoughts and feelings without judgment. By practicing compassion, understanding that all beings, including your family, struggle with their own pain. By practicing patience, accepting change as a natural part of life, not something to resist or fear. The Buddha's teaching invites you to see clearly that holding tightly to family as your only refuge may cause suffering. If you tie your happiness to family alone, what happens when it cannot meet your needs? You feel lost, empty, and alone. But if your happiness arises from your own understanding and kindness, then even if family is far or silent, your heart remains full. This is not to say you turn your back on family. Rather, you learn to love them freely, without clinging or expectations. When you find refuge within, you are free to love without fear, without the need for return. This freedom is the essence of the Buddhist path. It is freedom from attachment, freedom from suffering. Many who walk this path say it is like waking from a long dream. Suddenly, they see life as it is, full of change, yet beautiful and precious. You do not have to wait for family to be perfect or always present to be happy. You can start now, right here, right now, to find that true refuge inside yourself. Take a moment, breathe deeply, feel your own heart beating. Know that this life is yours to live, with or without the support you expect from others. The river flows, but your mind can be still. Your family may be your first home, but your true home is your awakened heart. When you nurture this home, you carry peace wherever you go. This is the real refuge, steady, strong, and always there. Remember, the Buddha's path is not about rejecting family, but about not relying on them as the sole source of security. It is about building a foundation within that no storm can shake. So, take refuge in the three jewels. Practice kindness to yourself and others. Let go of clinging. In this way, you're never truly alone. Your heart is your home. Your mind is your shelter. And your spirit is free. Walk this path with courage and calm. The refuge you seek is already within you. Open your eyes, breathe, and begin. Listen carefully, dear friend. Life is a river, always flowing, never the same from one moment to the next. Just as the water cannot be held in your hands, the people and things we love cannot be tightly grasped without causing pain. This is the way of the world. The Buddha taught us to walk the path of detachment, not as a way to stop caring, but as a way to free ourselves from suffering. Detachment is often misunderstood. Many believe it means to abandon all love and connection. But this is not true. Detachment means to let go of clinging, to release the grip of expectation and desire. When you hold something loosely, like a flower in your hand, You can appreciate its beauty without fear of losing it. That is the essence of detachment. When you rely too much on your family or anyone else for your happiness, you create chains around your heart. These chains bind you, limiting your freedom and peace. You begin to depend on others for your sense of worth and safety. But what happens when those people cannot give you what you need? The chains tighten and suffering arises. The Buddha showed us that real strength comes from within. Like a tree rooted deeply in the earth, we grow strong when our foundation is inside us. This inner strength is born of wisdom and mindfulness. It is not weak or cold, but warm and resilient. To walk the path of detachment is to recognize that all things are impermanent. Families change. People grow apart or face their own struggles. Nothing lasts forever. When you understand this deeply, you stop fighting the current of life. Instead, you learn to float with grace. Practicing detachment does not mean you stop caring for your family. It means you love without expectations. You open your heart, but you do not hold on so tightly that you lose yourself. Imagine a lotus flower growing in the muddy water. It rises above the mud, beautiful and clean. The mud does not cling to it. You too can rise above the difficulties and attachments that cloud your heart. When you cultivate inner strength, you create a refuge inside yourself. This refuge is always with you. It is not shaken by changes around you. When family support is absent or weak, your inner refuge holds you steady. The practice begins with mindfulness. Be aware of your feelings and thoughts without judgment. Notice when you cling or expect too much from others. Gently bring your mind back to the present moment. Meditation is a powerful tool to build this strength. Sit quietly and watch your breath. Let worries and attachments float away like clouds in the sky. The sky remains vast and clear no matter what clouds pass. Another way to cultivate detachment is to practice generosity, not only with things but with your love and forgiveness. When you give freely without expecting anything back, you free yourself and others. Compassion also grows naturally when you detach from selfish desires. You see others as they are, with kindness and understanding. You accept their flaws and your own without blame. Detachment is not cold or distant. It is a deep warmth that comes from knowing life as it truly is. It is peace in the face of change. It is joy in simplicity. When you walk this path, you become a source of calm for those around you. Your family may still have their struggles and limitations, but you no longer depend on them to complete your happiness. This does not mean you avoid relationships. Instead, you engage with them fully and openly, without fear. You are free to love and support others, but your heart is not captive. There will be moments when you feel lonely or afraid. This is natural. Remember, the river flows on. Your feelings will change. Do not resist them. Observe them with kindness. In these moments, return to your breath. Feel the strength within your body and mind. Trust in your inner refuge. It is your true home. The Buddha's teaching of detachment is a guide to freedom. It helps us live with less suffering and more peace. It does not isolate us, but connects us more deeply to life itself. Think of the wind that moves through the trees. The trees bend, but do not break. They do not cling to the wind, but move with it. So too can you be flexible and strong. You may wonder, how do I begin this path? Start small. Practice letting go of small attachments. When you feel frustration or anger with family, pause and breathe. Ask yourself, can I release this? Try to see your family as they are, not as you wish them to be. Accept their faults and limitations. This acceptance is the first step toward detachment and compassion. Remember, detachment is a journey, not a destination. Some days will be easier, some harder. Be patient with yourself. You are not alone on this path. Many have walked before you, and many will follow. The Buddha's wisdom shines like a lantern in the dark, showing the way. The path of detachment and inner strength leads to true freedom. It is freedom from fear, from dependence, from suffering. It is the peace that surpasses understanding. As you continue, you will find your heart growing lighter, your mind clearer, your spirit calm. This is the gift of detachment. Not losing love, but gaining peace. Not losing connection, but finding true connection to your inner self. Walk gently, friend. The river flows, the lotus blooms, and you are part of this beautiful dance. Welcome, seeker truth. Today, we speak of rebuilding. Not only the houses made of wood or stone, but the houses built in the heart. Relationships are like fragile bridges over rivers of change. Sometimes those bridges crumble. Sometimes the currents grow strong and carry us apart. But the wise know even broken bridges can be rebuilt, slowly, patiently, with care. You ask, Zen Master, how do I rebuild what has been broken in family ties? How do I mend the wounds of distance, disappointment, or hurt? Listen closely, for the answer is gentle yet profound. First, we must remember this. All things are impermanent. The Buddha taught that nothing stays the same, not even our closest bonds. Families change, grow, and sometimes fade. This truth can bring sadness, yes, but also opens the door to new beginnings. To rebuild, you must start within. Like a craftsman who selects the right tools, you prepare your heart with wisdom and patience. Wisdom teaches you to see clearly, to understand that family members are imperfect, just as you are. They carry their own burdens, fears, and misunderstandings. Patience is the gentle rain that softens the hardest ground. Without patience, attempts to rebuild crumble quickly. But with patience, even the smallest seed of connection can grow into a strong tree. Do not rush to fix everything at once. Sometimes just sitting quietly with someone, sharing a smile, or listening without judgment is the first plank laid in the new bridge. Remember the middle way. Avoid extremes. Do not cling to old hurts, nor pretend they never happened. Face them with calmness and honesty. Speak your truth with kindness. When anger or pain arise, breathe deeply. The breath is a healer, a steady friend. You may find that some relationships will never return to what they once were. And that is okay. The goal is not to recreate the past, but to build something new, something wiser. Acceptance is part of this process, accepting what is without resistance. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks many doors. It frees you from carrying heavy stones in your heart. Forgive not only others, but also yourself. We all stumble. We all fall. The Buddha was patient with himself and others. Understanding the human path is full of missteps. When rebuilding, compassion becomes your greatest tool. Compassion sees beyond faults and mistakes. It understands that everyone acts from their own suffering or ignorance. Compassion does not excuse harmful actions, but meets them with openness and the wish for healing. Practice listening deeply. Often, we listen to reply, not to understand. But true listening opens the heart and calms conflicts. When a family member speaks, quiet your mind. Hear their pain, their fears, and their hopes. Be humble in your approach. Pride can build walls higher than bricks. Approach with a gentle spirit, ready to learn and to change. Sometimes, rebuilding relationships requires changing yourself first. Set clear boundaries too. Rebuilding does not mean losing yourself or accepting harm. Wise boundaries protect your peace and keep relationships healthy. Explain your limits calmly and kindly. Healthy relationships respect these boundaries. Let go of expectations that your family must behave in a certain way. Expectations can cause disappointment. Instead, focus on what you can give: love, respect, kindness, without needing something in return. Practice gratitude for the small moments of connection. A shared meal, a kind word, a remembered smile. These small gifts are the stones that pave a new path. Remember, the Buddha did not teach detachment as coldness or rejection. True detachment is freedom. Freedom to love without grasping, to care without clinging. Be present in your actions. When rebuilding, each moment counts. Be mindful of your words and deeds. Like a gardener tending a young plant, nurture the relationship with care. Sometimes, rebuilding takes time longer than you wish. Be patient with the process. Growth is quiet and unseen beneath the surface before it bursts into life. If conflict arises, do not react with anger. Pause, reflect, respond with calm and clarity. The Buddha taught that anger is like fire. It burns but does not warm. Water it with patience and it will cool. Seek support from others if needed. Sometimes, a wise friend or teacher can help you see the path clearly. Do not walk alone if the journey feels too hard. Meditation can help you find calm and insight. Sitting quietly each day opens space for understanding. In silence, the heart speaks. Remember, rebuilding relationships is not about winning or losing. It is about harmony. It is about walking together, even if the road is winding. Sometimes, the best rebuilding is simply to accept what is and let love flow freely, without conditions. Family is not only those who share your blood. The Buddha showed us that true family can be found in those who share kindness and understanding. As you rebuild, open your heart to all beings. Practice loving kindness to yourself and others. This is the greatest gift you can offer. Do not fear solitude. Solitude can be a teacher that reveals your inner strength and peace. From this peace, relationships can heal and grow. Know that every step you take in rebuilding is a step toward wisdom. Each act of kindness is a seed planted in fertile soil. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Trust that, like the lotus flower rising from muddy waters, beauty and harmony can emerge from difficulties. In the end, rebuilding relationships is a path of transformation, transforming pain into peace, separation into connection, and struggle into understanding. Walk this path with courage and heart. The Zen master walks with you, silently supporting your journey. To truly walk the path of wisdom, one must learn a very subtle art, the art of letting go without abandoning. It may sound strange. How can you let go, yet not abandon? Is it possible to care deeply and still release attachment? This is the teaching I wish to share with you today. In life, we often cling tightly to those we love, especially family. This tight grip comes from fear. Fear of loss, fear of change, fear of being alone. But in holding on so tightly, we may cause more suffering, both for ourselves and for those we hold dear. The Buddha taught that attachment is the root of suffering. Yet, love itself is not wrong. The key is to love without grasping, to love freely without chains, to care deeply, yet allow others their own freedom to grow and be themselves. Think of a parent and a child. The parent loves the child with all their heart, but as the child grows, they must leave the nest. If the parent clings, tries to control, or stops the child from flying, they cause harm. Letting go does not mean you stop loving the child. It means you give the child space to become who they are meant to be. This is the delicate balance, to hold with open hands, not clenched fists. In family, this is especially hard because emotions run deep and histories bind us. But Buddha's wisdom asks us to look closely at our hearts. Are we holding others to our expectations? Are we demanding their presence or approval to feel safe? When we release these demands, a new kind of relationship can bloom, one built on respect, kindness, and understanding. This does not mean coldness or distance. It means seeing others clearly as they are, not as we wish them to be. You might wonder, Zen Master, how do I do this letting go without abandoning? It begins with self-awareness. Watch your thoughts and feelings. Notice when you try to control or hold too tightly. Breathe deeply and remind yourself, I love you, but I do not own you. I wish you well, even if you walk a different path than mine. Practice compassion, first for yourself. Letting go can feel like loss. It may bring sadness or fear. Be gentle with your heart. Know that in Buddhism, letting go is not giving up. It is opening to freedom. Freedom for yourself and for others. Remember the lotus flower rising from muddy water. It does not hold on to the mud, but grows beyond it. So too can we rise beyond the mud of attachment. When family members disappoint or drift away, it can feel like a deep wound. Yet Buddha teaches that suffering comes not from the event itself, but from how we hold on inside. If we cling, we suffer. If we accept, we find peace. Letting go means accepting impermanence, understanding that all things change. Family, like all relationships, is subject to change. This truth is not to be feared, but embraced as a natural law. When you practice this, you create space for true love, a love that supports growth rather than control. You allow others to be free, and you become free yourself. Another key is to recognize interdependence. No one walks alone, yet no one can live for another. We are connected, yet each must walk their own path. In Buddhism, the concept of non-attachment is not about separation, but about freedom from grasping. When you practice non-attachment, you care deeply, but do not become entangled in suffering caused by expectations. You learn to offer kindness without conditions. You become a source of calm and peace rather than anxiety or pressure. This practice can transform family relationships. Instead of conflict and pain, there can be understanding and respect. Instead of demands, there can be acceptance. Sometimes, letting go means setting boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, but bridges. They protect your peace and invite healthier connections. When you hold firm to your own inner calm, you help others find their own balance. You become a silent teacher, leading by example. In this way, letting go is an act of compassion, both for yourself and your family. It is also an act of courage. It takes courage to face the truth that we cannot control others, no matter how much we wish to. This courage brings wisdom. It teaches us to trust the flow of life, even when it moves away from our plans. And in trusting, we discover a deeper peace, the peace that comes from acceptance. Letting go without abandoning is the middle way. It avoids extremes of clinging and rejection. It honors connection without losing freedom. When you practice this, you live in harmony with the Buddhist teaching of the Four Noble Truths, acknowledging suffering, understanding its cause, realizing its end, and following the path. You become a living example of compassion and wisdom in the face of family challenges. So, dear friend, as you walk your journey, remember, let go gently, love deeply, and hold space without grasping. This is the way of freedom, the way of peace. Greetings, dear traveler. I am the Zen Master, here to share with you the final wisdom on this journey called Don't Rely on Your Family Now. As we reach the end, let us pause and reflect together, simply and gently. In life, many seek a home, a place where they feel safe and loved. Most look to family for this. But what if I told you that the real home is not outside but inside? That the refuge we seek in others is best found within ourselves? The Buddha taught that all things are impermanent. Families change, people grow apart, and situations shift like clouds in the sky. To cling to family as if they will never leave or change is like holding water in your hand. It slips away no matter how tightly you grasp. I have seen many souls who suffered because they expected too much from their family. Disappointments piled up, and their hearts grew heavy. But the wise one knows, peace comes not from outside, but from a calm mind within. Let me tell you a story, a simple tale to open your heart. There was once a young monk who loved his family deeply. One day, he lost everything and sought help from them. But they turned away, busy with their own lives. The monk was broken, but instead of anger or sadness, he turned inward. He sat quietly beneath a tree, breathing and observing his pain. Slowly, he realized that his strength was not in their support, but in his own calm acceptance. This is the teaching of detachment, not coldness or abandonment, but freedom from clinging. When we stop relying on others to fill our emptiness, we find that the emptiness was never empty at all. It was space for compassion, for love, and for understanding. Family is important. It is a precious gift, but it is not a guarantee of security. We must build a foundation within, a heart steady and kind, a mind clear and free. The Buddha called this the path of self-reliance and wisdom. It means we care for ourselves deeply, with patience and kindness, like a gardener tending a delicate flower. We water it, give it sunlight, but do not choke it with demands or expectations. When you walk this path, you carry your true home with you. No matter where you go, what changes around you, your heart remains a sanctuary. Sometimes family will support you. Sometimes they will not. This is the nature of life. But your peace does not depend on their actions. It depends on your practice. Practice kindness toward yourself. Practice patience. When feelings of loneliness or fear arise, greet them like old friends. Do not run or hide. In their presence, you find strength. Remember, the mind is like a river. When disturbed, it is turbulent. But with calmness and mindfulness, the water becomes clear and still. This stillness is your true home. Do not be afraid to stand alone. The Buddha stood alone under the Bodhi tree and found enlightenment. In your solitude, you too can find truth. Let your heart open like a lotus, pure and strong. Even if the pond around it is muddy, the lotus blossoms untouched. If you ever feel lost, return to your breath. Breathe deeply. Feel the life inside you. You are your own refuge. You are enough. This is not a journey of isolation, but of liberation. Liberation from the chains of expectation, from suffering born of attachment. You may wonder, does this mean I abandon my family? No, it means you love them freely, without dependence or clinging. True love is freedom. When you love without needing something in return, your heart is free and joyful. Practice compassion for your family, but do not lose yourself in their troubles or opinions. Walk your path with courage and grace. Life is a river of change. Let flow. Hold on to the truths inside your heart, and you will never be lost. In this final lesson, I invite you to find your real home within. No matter what happens, no matter who stands by your side or who leaves, you are whole. Be the calm in the storm, the light in the darkness. This is your power. Thank you for walking this path with me. May your journey be peaceful, wise, and full of compassion. Remember, the real home lies within.